Hi, my name is Atlas and I'm in 5th grade. My category is digital game design and I created a cookie clicker. What makes my game unique is that it has multiple different upgrades, enemies, and power-ups. I did not use any material that needed copyright permission, but all images besides the quests, cookie, enemies unfair, level, and information are from Canva. My project is complete and does function as intended to, which is for it to be a complete clicker game with upgrades and no bugs. As far as I know, everything should work as intended. I came up with most of the ideas when I was on a long car trip and was very bored. I realized at the time what my project should be, and it was a game that is relaxing but challenging. Some things I learned about Scratch along the way were that they had a cloud setting for variables. This would be helpful for keeping high scores across multiple people's game. The intended purpose of my project is to be relaxing, but not a fully idle game, as well as being a finger workout. My game still requires you to be active unless you have reached the benchmark of around 10 million clicks. The upgrades are supposed to make the game easier while also introducing new problems. For example, if you buy Golden Fist, then enemies will start to appear every 2 to 4 minutes. When they appear, you won't be able to gain any clicks or buy upgrades. However, when you defeat them, you earn a click reward. Scratch wasn't and still isn't the most suitable software for my project, but the reason I have used it is because it is the easiest and I'm not a pro at JavaScript or Python yet. So that was also out the window along with Unreal Engine being mostly built for 3D. I worked alone on my project. It took me about 2 months to create the full game. The easiest part of the entire project was the clicking system. As you can see, it essentially just checks if the sprite was clicked, and then if it was, it'll change the clicks by CPC, which can be upgraded here and is always, when you start the game, 1. The most difficult part of the entire project was the enemy system. I found that with every fix came another problem. I found that enemies would randomly spawn before the player even had one Golden Fist. This led to me implementing a button to get rid of enemies if you had 0 Golden Fists. As you can see, this is the button here, and if I bring this guy in, the last and final enemy, and then I click this, as you can see, he'll go away. But it won't just do that forever, because people could cheat by clicking it even when they had a greater G-Fist than 1. So it checks if their G-Fist is less than 1, and if it is, then it will despawn any enemies. I learned how to use the broadcast block, which I used in this same sprite. The most fun I had making this project was making the military. It wasn't too hard, but was still a very fun challenge for the project. The reason it was a challenge was because of this. Because the military subtracts 50 damage from every single enemy when they are on screen. And it'll take 50 damage from them every 1 second. The reason it is only 0.75 seconds is because I found that 0.75 seconds was closer to 1 second than an actual second. And all of this code is just subtracting 50 health from every single enemy. This is the code that makes sure that the player can only buy 1 military, because it would be useless if they could buy 2 since it would change nothing, and it is very hard to get even 1 military. So I made sure to make it so that it not only checks if you have enough clicks, but it makes sure to also check if tank buy equals 1. However, as soon as you buy a tank, it sets tank buy to 2, and thus you can no longer buy any tanks. If I did this project again, I would probably add a high score system and use Pygame or similar software. I could take this project further by adding more upgrades and enemies, or even an online aspect to it. As you can see, this is an informational button. When you click it, it'll make this screen pop up. And when you click it, it'll fade away. This this will tell you about every single upgrade that is here. The CPS works by first checking if CPS is equal to or greater than 1, and then it'll change clicks by CPS, and then it'll wait 1 second. It will repeat that forever. But in order to even get 1 CPS, the player must first buy a CPS for 150 clicks. The game checks to see if the player has 150 clicks or more, and if can't buy equals 1, because if can't buy equals 2, then that means that there is an enemy on screen, and thus the player is not allowed to buy or click a cookie. Once a player clicks on this, it'll subtract whatever the price is from their clicks. I had to balance them out because I found that they were getting too overpowered, and by the time we even reached 5 clicks, they were already costing millions of clicks. So I had to nerf them so that instead of duplicating every time, instead of multiplying by 5 or 6, they would only double. And as you can see, that doesn't make it perfectly balanced, but it makes it a much easier challenge, while also not being too difficult. As you can see, this is the shield. It is only 25,000 clicks, and it protects you from enemies for 5 minutes. This works by first checking if your price, if you can buy it. And if you can, then yet again, it will subtract its price from your clicks, and then it will change shield by 1. The difference about this from tanks is that you can stack these, and thus it'll keep running until shields equal 0. Next up is the nuclear energy. This signifies the end of the game because it is the most expensive item. Once you buy this, which you can buy 2 of, then you have completed the game. If you have 1 of them, then it will pay you 80,000 every 60 seconds. But if you have 2, then it will pay you 160,000 clicks every 60 seconds. And then there is the quests. The quests give you interactive quests that give you something to do in the beginning of the game. These are not relative after you have unlocked the military or the nuclear energy, because your numbers would already be too big by then to have any quests available. Quest 1 is randomly generated every time you click start, but it can be anywhere from 5,000 clicks to 10,000 clicks that you need to complete. Your reward, however, is always 10,000 clicks. As you can see, it will tell you if it is complete or not. But as you have seen before, you could have seen that it had said yes when I had a lot of clicks. And this is the second one. This can be anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 clicks. However, 75,000 clicks. However, the reward is still always 75,000 clicks. And as you can see, it still tells me that neither of these have been completed. The level system works by giving the player a set amount of clicks they need to get, and then leveling them up. As you can see, the current level I am is level 1, and the level requirement is 1,000. Once I complete this, I will get a prize. The prize is relative to the level requirement.